And welcome to the SmackDown review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by another darling boy, Michael Hamflett from WhatCulture, here to review everything that happened on this week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review SmackDown, but also the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a very good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Hamflett to review this week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. I'm beating me through it. First one on Netflix for us.
Yeah.
Hence the music. I am going to get it sorted.
You've got when you say bean in your throat,
I've got a bean to pick with you, yeah.
it makes it sound like one of your, the mixed metaphor thing that you hit, like as if it was like bean in the bonnet. Like there's like a little bean.
Yeah.
I've got a bean in my bonnet.
I've got a bean to flick with you. I had beans on toast for lunch.
I've had a bean in my throat about SmackDown all weekend. But it's been so long now that I've kind of forgotten why. Maybe when we go through.
It was class.
No, I know. What I know is that it was a bad show, the third of the week for WWE, which gives me no joy whatsoever. Do you know what happened when I illustrated that point? People said, well, tell me why AEW is good.
I love it.
I can't. It's mate. Like, listen to Collision to find out more. But, like, yeah, this was not a good show. And it was what I felt was the third in a row. A really, really disappointing start to life on Netflix for WWE creatively.
Not for me. I liked it.
Yeah, you said. The weird thing about the 3-hour SmackDowns, and I think we went to them both positively. Like both positive about 3-hour SmackDown. 3-hour WWE TV shows aren't a worry, aren't a thing to dread like they were once upon a time. Is that Raw, right as it was coming to the end of the 3-hour run, back end of last year, was like, it's perfect form. I don't want an hour shaved off this Raw. And then the 2-hour ones were fine, but there was this sense that he's not. You can tell they're having to like rush things or squash things, or it's just not quite Raw. The way that they've built this card and this roster over the last few years actually needs the 3 hours for the first time in its 3-hour history. Yeah. Great. There's no reason why, as a result, you can't then, he being Triple H, pronoun boy, but also just WWE in general, subsequently stack the rosters, as we think they're probably going to do with the transfer window and NXT and the like, but fill the rosters with enough stars to rotate them all around, that the matches don't get boring, that the stories don't get stale, and not have too great a worry. 2 weeks in, and I'm not convinced, these are feeling like elongated. They're not even elongated 2-hour shows. They're feeling like elongated 1-hour shows. That's the second week in a row now where I can't, I'm trying to choose my words carefully so you can't Wilbourn them at the end. But I can't believe that after it's finished, they've like dared present that as a 3-hour wrestling show. Your brain's going, I know what you mean. It felt like an hour to me.
It did fly by for me.
No, it didn't. No, it only did if you did the X3.
I wouldn't do that.
No, I think you only do that on shows with red ropes. That's right. Monday Night Raw.
No.
Like, I thought this dragged. It had 2 promo trains and impromptu matches. That's not on.
One was
doesn't
really
matter,
good.
And it wasn't that good. I think you're overstating it.
I enjoyed it.
I thought there was a lot of problems with this SmackDown, and I've got issues. 2025 has not started how I would have liked. There is a lot of concerned patients in the local medical facility right now queuing up for answers, and I don't have them yet, and I'm working on it.
Well, let's get into it. Maybe you can delve into the problem doctor as we go through this episode of SmackDown with Joe Tessitore, of course, on the call.
Good.
He was really good, yeah. Again. Where are they? Portland, Oregon. We get a big recap from the Raw Netflix thing, of course. And Paul Heyman opens the show. We see everyone like arriving, and then Paul Heyman comes out and does the "My name's Paul Heyman" bit, and says, "Tonight's one of the nights I'm actually glad to be here." He says, "It's one of the greatest honors of my career to announce there is only one tribal chief of WWE and the Island of Relevancy, and his name is Roman Reigns." And we get an OTC chant breaking out. The chance we'll have to wait till Las Vegas, probably.
Yeah.
And he says that Roman Reigns has authorized him to tell everyone what he wants to do next. Good. Let's get on with this. Let's not wait till the 27th because we all know what's happening there. But before he does, he wanted to share that news with one man in particular, and that man is Cody Rhodes. And brings out Cody, and they shake hands, and Cody stands there. As Heyman says that Cody deserved the response he received. He's done something few has ever done, and that's earned the respect of Roman Reigns. Talks about how great a champion he's been, and as a result of that, Roman has told Paul Heyman to go out there and tell Cody he wants his title back, and Cody just looks at it. And Heyman says that Reigns wants Cody to know that he intends to get his title back by entering this year's Royal Rumble.
Oh my God.
John Cena and Roman Reigns as 1 and 2. Not the numbers as in the first two people to announce themselves for the Rumble is Jesus.
Feels big time, doesn't it?
I mean, not they need any help selling tickets clearly for that show, but my word, that graphic where it's just the 10 and all you could see is Roman and Cena in the numbers.
Yeah.
I don't need anyone else, really.
It's illustrative.
I mean, I do. I need CM Punk.
It's illustrative of what we talked about with the build to WrestleMania, isn't it? Is that there are simply too many massive and massively over stars for this to fail. And that's why the multitude of different cards that needed arranging because of The Rock isn't really a problem.
Yes. Yeah, losing The Rock.
Touch wood.
If that's the case, losing The Rock for a very rare period is like, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just do something else.
Totally, yeah.
Roman's going to be in the Rumble to earn his way into a match against Cody for the undisputed WWE Championship. And then Heyman says, "Sir, what do you guys want to talk about?"
He did as well.
That's what he said.
He did.
I think that's when I knew this show's going to be great.
Right, yeah.
Roman's just declared for the Rumble, and I've got to do a Paul Heyman, what do you guys want to talk about?
Yeah.
But Cody gets a mic before he can say anything, though. Kevin Owens is in the crowd yelling about just when it couldn't get any worse. It does, because then Cody goes and shakes hands with The Rock on Monday. Now Heyman's just there saying Roman Reigns wants his title back. You see, Cody, you should let the bloodline rip itself to shreds, or rip Roman to shreds, he says. He keeps banging on. Cody's like, I've had enough of this. Jumps through the crowd, goes to fight with him. And, they brawl up the stairs. And Paul Heyman turns around to see Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga stood there in the ring with him and the World Heavyweight title. And Heyman drops his ass a bit, backs into a corner. But here comes Jimmy Uso to make the save. And he drops them with some super kicks and grabs a chair. Lays out Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu. Breeze or something? What was that? Yeah, he no-sells that. Hits Jimmy with a flying elbow, and they beat him up. Referee dives in there. Just gets kicked in the face by Fatu for his troubles. Everyone else is like, oh, I'm not going in there. But Cody comes back, throws Tama out the ring. There's a nice face-off between Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga, and Cody clotheslines him over the top to the outside as security finally gets involved, and Cody stands tall to end this segment. Yeah.
A lot to unpack there, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't even the segment, was it, where the SmackDown GM came out and made I liked we'll do it in reverse order, I think. I like the arrangement of all the key players here. Like, Big Jim had a good night, and that was nice to see. Gets to work a little bit out the shadow of Jay, and indeed out of the babyface bloodline in general, and thought he had a good night, and we'll get to his performances elsewhere on the show. But I liked him as the lone hero who was willing to do the right thing by Paul Heyman. Felt good. Genuinely felt good. Even if it meant he got his ass kicked until Cody made the save. But again, I like Cody making the save because the numbers were never off here, were they? Like, it was never... The advantage that Jimmy briefly had was only because the new bloodline weren't ready for him.
Yes.
As soon as, he dared to attack Jacob, basically, then that was it. He was in trouble. And it's not like Paul Heyman can do anything to help. Physically useless in a situation like that. So that's when Cody does the right thing by Jimmy. And just as the right thing in general, being the top star and top babyface. So I do like that in principle. First problem with the 3-hour era emerges because, yes, there's a tag match set up. There's a tag match that you might actually be able to build a bit of hype for. Maybe you even do a little bit, how are Cody and Jimmy? Like, you can always just create a little bit of tension with this post-bloodline explosion of people and all the different ways that everybody's interacted over the years. But no, not in the 3-hour era. There's going to be a match later on. They're going to be best mates and everything. It's fine. Cody may as well be Sami Zayn. The way he gets on with Jimmy Uso, they go like, yes. Like I don't buy it. I don't believe it. Feels a little bit inauthentic for what typically Triple H is very good at, which is the way in which relationships are built and broken within WWE. So I didn't really like that. The prior stuff, with the Roman Cody stuff, I really liked, and I said as much on a preview. I said it before everybody else.
Yes.
Roman and Cody 3, a very, very, very viable option, and could well be one of the WrestleMania matches. That's kind of hiding in plain sight if you think about how people are factoring in CM Punk and John Cena, and up until last week, The Rock. The trilogy element would immediately make it WrestleMania history. And they like doing that, WWE. The fact that the dynamic, I'm just reiterating what I said on prior previews, so I apologise for anybody that's heard this all before. The dynamic being different is such a benefit.
Yes.
Because you could tell in the way that Cody was selling the idea of the match was that, well, that's something I really want to see. Because they've never, approached it like, A, Cody's got supreme confidence, as he should. B, Roman is a baby face that will kind of force the audience to make a decision between two good guys this time around, and C, Roman Reigns trying to reclaim the belt as validation, not just retain it, not just maintain this incredible streak he was once on. So dynamic is all very familiar, but completely different.
Yes.
So I think they've shown you, if they want, a captivating WrestleMania main event there, which is not an accident, because if it doesn't occur, then you are now in your head thinking about it as WrestleMania main event worthy. So if they drop that at a Backlash or at a SummerSlam or whatever,
2 nights, of course, this year.
Well, great point. Yeah, 2 nights SummerSlam, doesn't it? It's like, well, yeah, this is absolutely the biggest match that WWE could do. So really, really smart as a way to implant the idea that, almost like asking and telling the fans, you think it's a WrestleMania main event, don't you? Everybody immediately responds, yep, 100%.
Yes.
We're not giving you that, but imagine how cool you're going to feel about SummerSlam when that's night one or whatever. So really, really smart to sort of see that one, even if they don't end up using it. So yeah, lots to like about building block stuff, but I got a bit just a little twisty feeling about the tag match that we'd later get. Smart told off not bringing Solo back this week. Yeah. Yes, you want him to sell the ramifications, but you can absolutely be patient with that. You should be being patient.
And as we said in the preview, it should be the week of, I'm not going to be there, I'm kind of licking my wounds. I'm not injured or anything like that, but I don't really want to show my face. But to reestablish us, boys, go and kick everyone's ass.
Yeah.
And I kind of disagree with the Jimmy thing, but I'll get to why that is a little bit later on.
I think show long ace kickers would have been the move for me this week, personally. But I get, a lot of the bloodline post SummerSlam when Roman came back as the OTC, it's always felt a bit of like a speed run still, even now. If we get to WrestleMania and a bunch of the matches feel like this is the time, this is the place, you can't argue with it because the timing of it has led you to WrestleMania. But there's been, how many times have we said this where it's like, oh, they've got here a bit quicker than I thought. They rushed through that. Remember when it was, I was making excuses well, it's because The Rock's coming back and he's going to ruin everything or he's going to do stuff. So they kind of want everything to peak at War Games at a bare minimum. We're still doing it. And The Rock's basically just said no to, or has he, Wilbourn? What are you cooking up, Wilbourn?
Well, yeah, the speed running through stuff because The Rock's coming back 20+7, baby.
What's your take on this, Nicholas?
Don't make me do it. Come on.
Hate?
No, don't make me do it. It's rubbish.
It's rubbish.
Rubbish. It was rubbish. It could do nothing.
How are you prepping for the 28th of January? Should old Dwayne get stuck in traffic or something?
Say he's in the Rumble. And then, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, go on.
Go and ask me what I do if he doesn't show up in the Rumble.
What are you going to do if he doesn't show up in the Rumble?
Say he's in the chamber. And then we're basically at WrestleMania, then just say, show up, we'll set his name on fire. It'll be the highlight of my entire weekend.
Don't double down, treble down.
Yeah.
That's OTJ, baby.
That's the OTJ for you. But it was the last we were going to see of Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. They were thrown out of the building by officials. Well, they weren't thrown out by officials.
This was funny.
Guys, can you leave? And they were like, no, we're going to kick your ass. And then LA Knight comes in and just hoists him out the door. See you later, guys.
This was very funny.
There's going to be no consequences to these actions.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Because obviously consequences would be forthcoming. But because it was a fire exit and you had the immediate, like the comedic effects of the door slamming shut, like that is a proper sort of, that's all my problems gone forever. I've just pushed Jacob Fatu through an automatic closing door. Very funny visual and not in any way damaging to the aura of Jacob Fatu. It's like, well, yes, it's a fire door, but he could probably smash through it with his head given it time. So like, but LA Knight being the one to do it and having the arrogance to think problem solved. Funny stuff.
I also like the thought process of they obviously just had to wait out there till the camera shut off to be let back in, or in kayfabe, they don't go around some other exit entrance and break their way in. They just wait a bit and some poor staff was like, oh, some poor bastard's gone out to have a ciggy and hello, can I Jacob Fatu.
I want the you know how they did the Kevin Owens Cody Rhodes thing by the bus with like fan phone footage. I want arena camera footage or something of how the bloodline made it back in the building.
Round and round. This door? No. This is a really good match that came next. Someone should have pitched this on the preview. It was a rematch for the US title. Michin versus Chelsea Green. Annoyingly, did they announce this beforehand? Nope. I assume so.
They announced it.
Day of, maybe.
Day of, but like late as well. Late
a little, the usual old-fashioned sort of, we'll announce stuff on the day.
What's going on? Like, I'm worried.
Busy week.
I don't give a f***. I'm worried about the thing that matters the most to me in my life, along with my wife and children. Like, something isn't right. Heads have been turned or something. Something's not right. Like, somebody's forgot to oil the well-oiled machine. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a strategy early on of just like, let's see if this will hook people in because they go, oh, that's on Netflix. I've got Netflix. Bish, bash, bosh.
Yeah, maybe.
I ain't got to even look for my uppers and downers.
That's true. Look, I enjoy just navigating WWE on Netflix as much as the next man. I really, really do. It's a far better user interface than the WWE Network ever was. Kel Surprise.
We'll see. But yeah, it was a rematch for the women's US title. Chelsea Green versus Michin. Early on, she keeps going for trying to set up for eat defeat, but Chelsea's having none of it. She scurries to the outside. Michin grabs her in a tarantula. That was nice to see. Green fights back, though, throws Michin to the outside because Piper Niven's there causing distraction as security.
Excellent. Sparkly suited presidential security. Like, inspired bollocks, this, isn't it? You've taken the character, Chelsea Green, skirts the line. Sorry, I'm stuck on your dick with a match review. Chelsea Green skirts the line of how serious should you take the title on a comedic character? Well, in fact, you should take it very seriously because this comedic character is really over.
Yes.
And she makes fans in buildings want to see her opponent, whoever that opponent is, win, or at very least figure out how to solve this additional problem of her having her own personalized presidential security.
You ever played that game on a stag do?
What's that?
Get Down, Mr. President.
No.
You're all just on a stag do, and you know, a bit like the thumb game you used to play, like put your thumb on the table, or you have to drink your drink. Or
right, okay.
Except it's the last person to touch their ear is therefore the president, and you're allowed to rugby tackle them whilst yelling, "Get down, Mr. President."
God, I know we're all in our 30s, fact, but sometimes I can't wait to be out with them.
2 stags this year.
Oh my God.
I don't wish to pry into the personal lives of your friends here. Second weddings or
no, both first this year.
I had a long time since I've been in a stag do.
4 stags last year. That one of them was a let's go around again. But the other, I've just basically sufficiently got into friends of friends groups that are like, I'll bring Wilbourn along.
I could see that. You are definitely one of those people. He goes a +1 is like the extra, and then like
it's my best mate's younger brother's stag now.
Oh, that's good stuff. That is good stuff.
This is your gimmick, isn't it? It's like some people freelance on the side and they do other work. Wilbourn freelances to go to stag.
Yeah.
Makes new friends for that simple fact. Finds an age group, like WWE has the 18 there.
He's the key Wilbourn's key demo.
He's got his key demo for stag.
I don't know why
starts making friends in that area.
I'm struggling for 2026 because these are like the last ones, so I'm gonna have to break up some relationships or something.
Let's
ruin some marriages.
Let's just do this now. Anybody listening or watching that's planning on getting married and fancies having a Wilbourn +1, +2 actually, and
no, just +1.
Is willing to pay the flights.
Oh, okay, maybe +2.
We might be going to Amsterdam for Tom's stag, although the bride-to-be has said that is the one place we're not allowed to go because of my stag there. What have you been telling her, Tom? I thought we weren't going to talk about that.
I've never been to Amsterdam.
That's Las Vegas, you see. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens at the Dam? Oh, damn.
I've never been to Amsterdam. It's cycling and boat tours.
Tulips
and
yeah.
got a big cafe culture, so you can get a lot of different lattes.
That was it.
Lots of coffee and art.
Yeah. Adult art. Jerry.
So, yeah.
Who had the blue period? Who was that? Which every artist ever, I guess.
Yeah. The blue fit dads. Piper distracts her. That allows Green to take over on the outside and chuck her into the barricades, basically, to take us to a break. We come back. Michin finally gets out of I think it was a chin lock or something. Back suplex, shotgun drop kick. There's the long back attack.
I don't like it.
I do.
That long back, I find it a difficult phrase to pass. It just gives me the ick a bit.
It's like John Lennon's long arse, that picture.
That's a good shout. Brian, me and Wilbourn on John and Yoko and the picture of John Lennon's long arse. I will let you choose who's who, but you'll know which one we're talking about when you see the picture, because that man's got the longest ass. That ass is still going on to this day.
It's got an ass that won't quit.
All the way to his neck.
I can never remember if it was a shoot or if it was just Photoshop.
Yeah.
But it's long.
Like one of them tweet threads where it's like, with every like, I'll make John Lennon's ass bigger. And then it gets to the point where like it's like left earth.
Put it this way: if he was a coin machine, he's ready for 50 pence piece.
Yes. Congrats to everyone who did some fantastic Powerpuff Girls edits.
Yes.
Oh my, they were good.
Brian's amazing. Jay, I think, did one as well. Thank you very much for those.
I loved the attention to detail on how square your head was.
Really square.
On the WhatCulture, was it the WhatCulture Boys one? I think it was.
And there was a Traitors one, wasn't there?
Thank you, Jay.
There was a Traitors one as well.
Good.
Thank you. I'm now fully up to date on the Traitors we haven't talked about.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to squeeze that in at some point. I love when he gets proper serious on the Traitors. Claudia's like, break out the eyeshadow. More of it, I mean. She's already got... See, I didn't notice until... I don't know if this has just been a thing, I've just missed it, until this week, that they're like... They've got like animal heads on the wall. One of them's like a deer or a stag or whatever. That's got a Claudia fringe.
Oh,
pop for that.
That's, see, the little details. That's why the Traitors are the best in the business. What do you make of... well, not spoil.
No
spoilers.
spoilers.
Are watching along. Like you did twice last week by accident.
I'm just tweeting along with it, brother. No, I wasn't even tweeting. I was messaging you, wasn't I?
Me? Yeah, just straight up spoiling the DMs.
I was like, this is class. And you're like, what's this? And I was like, oh, you're not watching it.
It's a Thursday night. I thought you were going to tweet me the Dynamite rating. Where'd you stand on Gunge in general?
Stop being such bitches about it. Just get on with it.
You okay with being Gunge?
I like the fact that, people got Gunge and people were like, it smelled horrible and it tasted of poo. Meanwhile, Linda.
I saw that and it was like, well, you've killed a bit. Keep kayfabe, Linda. People are saying it looks like shit.
I liked the balloon clown challenge as well.
Reminded me of that place that we took the kids to, that I showed when we got back that looked like a scene from Saw.
Yeah.
It was like the scary fun house. And it was just like, just a Tesco bag.
They must have introduced a rule for
Apple Jacks, that's what it's called. Take your family Apple Jacks, it'll scare the shit out of you.
They must have introduced a rule, right? Because it was like they had to go through this thing, Nicholas, where it was like, oh, you've got to work out there's only one of these 4 doors that you can actually get through with these balloons. Otherwise, there's a creepy clown there. It's going to pop your balloon and cost you money and take you out the game, etc. And they were like, right, this one's got loads of diamonds on it and a star and what have you. I was just like, why don't you just say door 2, door 1,
I was
door
thinking
3?
that, yeah.
They must have said you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the game's ruined. So I was like,
4, 1, 2, 2. Oh, no, I'll just go through then.
Some thick twat's going to misremember. Oh, dead again. Although I was laughing along until the clown went for Claudia.
My queen?
Yes.
I like the gear she was in when they carried her away. Like one long fur outfit.
People say it's too camp, this program. Put me down. So yes, Green's... Oh no, long back attack from Michin.
Still in this match.
Yeah. Green fights back but misses a drop kick. Michin hits a running knee. Michin goes to the apron, kicks Piper Niven, then is like, no, I need to do more. Dives onto her. Goes up top. She looks like she's got the match in control. Goes for a crossbody, hits it, but Green rolls through and grabs the tights to sneak a 1, 2, 3. And post-match, Michin's like, I can hear you. But Piper Niven, get down, Mrs. President. Takes down Michin again. Good, because they are clearly setting up a stepped-up rematch, aren't they?
They are.
Piping him is going to be in a shark cage or something.
Yes. We can...
Piper's Pit?
Yes, love it already. Write that down for Friday. We can fantasy book ways in which presidential-themed things that keep Piper Niven out of the way. I thought this was only slightly better than the Saturday Night's main event match, but not as hot. So, like...
A better match with a worse finish.
Yeah. I got some problems with the undercard on SmackDown, but I feel like it's unfair to throw that at these two who worked quite hard and like kind of have the ducks in a row. It's just this was clearly not the thing to be the most excited about. Rushing a title defense on like this, like even we were saying, like Meechin's only an obvious first contender, but at least give it a couple of weeks, and they just did it.
Saturday Night's main event or whatever. Yeah,
and the fact they didn't.
That's why they might do it. They might do a stepped up thing at SNME.
Like the 2 shows, yeah, possibly.
All the tag team, well, not all of them, but a few of the tag teams are arguing backstage.
Here's the problem with
SmackDown GM, can't remember his name. Motor City Machine Guns, A-Town Dan Anda, Los Garza, and Pretty Deadly. Yes, boy! And SmackDown GM says, everyone just shut up, all right? We'll basically have a sort of tournament thing here. You all fight each other.
Did you not get like a bit of sort of bad old days vibes about this? Little bloody,
maybe, but I like
bloody wrestlers, and a boss figure having to come in and shout them all down, and like elements. And I know you'll have loved it, and I only liked it. Elements of the DIY Pretty Deadly thing, was sort of funny.
Yeah.
But this division couldn't look like a bigger gang of losers.
But I think that's the point. I think they're setting this up for someone to transfer window it and be like, oh, bloody hell, they're here.
Who?
I don't know. As I said that, I was thinking, who on earth is that?
Like NXT have only got, Gallus or something.
Well, you've ruined it now, haven't you? Now I don't like it. But I like I said, I think I like all 8 individuals involved. So I sort of let it slide. And
some of this is happening because of like a lie about an attack backstage.
Who did it?
Where the babyface is just like, well, yeah, we were completely made to look like tits over that, but we'll have this foo-head anyway.
Unless the Street Profits come in and just be like, no, we're not playing games now.
That would be the one. That would be the one, yeah.
Let it play out.
Okay, I will try.
And then it was time for a Pretty Deadly versus Los Garza. See if you can work out which was the favourite part of this match for me.
Yeah.
Something we hadn't seen in a long old time on WWE telly. Angel and Humberto jump start, big suicide dive onto Kit Wilson. They dominate early on until Elton Prince gets a blind tag and drags Humberto over the top for a nice little neck breaker to take us to a break. We come back and, Los Garza are in trouble, but Humberto finally gets out of it, gets the hot tag to Angel, who comes in. Big crossbody from the top for a 2 count. Rips his pants off!
Yeah, that spot is such a welcome return in these matches that are like quite dry as well. It needs that specific bit of like a flash of inspiration like that. Yeah, glad that's back. He
chucks the pants at Kit Wilson, I think it was, kicks him down. There's more switcheroo stuff with Pretty Deadly, and the ref gets distracted to allow Prince to take back over and go up top. He pulled, I think, Angel down once the referee was distracted. Goes up top, but Santos Escobar sneaks up as, I think, Elektra distracts the referee again to allow him to crotch Prince, and Los Garza hit their finisher to get the 1-2-3 and advance in this not tournament.
What's the difference between microphone today and every match on SmackDown?
New gear.
Close. He's the only one that found his peak. Doesn't he look nice, innit? Available from WhatCulture.com/shop. Is that still the address? Is it shop? WhatCulture.com/shop, yeah? Where you can get hats that look as good as that.
Nice.
It is. And I was taken by that, and I hadn't really noticed it before we sat down to record. And that's absolutely not a dig at your fantastic recap. It's a dig at the match, which I wish I had something as nice as that cap to look at as it was taking place.
I did like the bit with Pretty Deadly yelling, DIY, help us!
And that goes somewhere later on. I thought this was so boring, and I don't know if it's just because, again, I cannot cope with baby faces so willing to have just been made fools out of and then just like crack on as if it's the most normal thing. This was like, if Triple H wasn't booking this division as badly as he'd be pedigreeing them. Yeah. Like, just a loser crew of people at the moment. Maybe you've given me something to hold on to. The idea of the Street Profits coming back and not tolerating any of this nonsense, especially because they were the ones that fell away from the pecking order as a result of DIY's master plan. So it's almost like, here's some total scrubs for you to beat because they're not the real challenge. The real quiz is the Street Profits, but maybe expedite that because this feels...
You had to have Street Profits come in like stone cold after he got run over.
Yes.
Killing everyone.
Yes. The opposite of the Austin problem where it was like, oh, these are all just having a nice time. No, these are boring losers. Just batter them. Yes.
US title match next. Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight.
Yeah.
Vast improvement from their pay-per-view match, I thought, here.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Knights, well, they go to the outside early on, clotheslines Nakamura to the floor after that, and baseball slide, smashes his head off the commentary table, clotheslines him over the top again, but Nakamura posts LA Knight to take us to a break. We come back, and Nakamura's pulling the turnbuckle pad off the second rope, hits that nice sliding German of his, but as Nakamura's setting up on the top rope, Knight does this awesome run up the rope spot, superplex Nakamura for a nice 2 count, and then gets like a Boston Crab, Walls of Jericho, but facing his opponent. That looks weird. I like it.
Yeah.
But he has to just basically walk over to the ropes to allow Nakamura to get a rope break.
Yeah.
Nakamura.
Hence the kind of big problem with it as a submission hold whenever somebody's trying to invent something. If there's that enormous potential logic.
See where you're going.
Gap, yeah.
At least with Jericho, it's like, I'm putting more pressure on you. Oh, bloody hell, in doing so.
Yeah.
See where you're going. Nakamura goes for an armbar, but Knight rolls him up for a 2. Nakamura pops up, kicks Knight, but Knight goes for the BFT, and Nakamura counters with a nice spinning back elbow. Hits the Kinshasa, but LA Knight gets his leg on the bottom rope in a far better way than CM Punk against Seth Rollins, let's be honest.
And even then, it was still like he could have aimed for the middle rod. Yeah.
Nakamura sets LA Knight's head on the exposed turnbuckle, runs, but Knight moves, and Nakamura Kinshasa's into the exposed steel. Knight hits the BFT, and you thought, oh my God, he's going to regain the US title, but who shows back up but Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu to attack LA Knight. So he wins the match, but via DQ, so the title doesn't switch hands, and they're beating him up. They're targeting LA Knight now, but Cody and Jimmy run back out. Cody's back in his wrestling attire this time. They double super kick Fatu, and they retreat into the crowd. And this is when Cody grabs the mic and yells for the SmackDown GM to make a match, which he does for the main event of the evening.
Second title match in like 2 weeks where they've gone to this like quite lame DQ thing based on other stuff going on. And I know that we've previously praised certain DQs because it's all about the story that is either interrupted it or the story that's one of the wrestlers is in. In this case, it was a bit of both with LA Knight and the Bloodline. Last week, it was the match we just saw before, wasn't it? The
Los Garza, pretty deadly.
Deadly, thank you. Yeah, that battle's spoiling at the ring, but that's twice in 2 weeks where we've seen a match that has just existed to chew up TV time. And not a lot's happening, is it? Let's be honest. They've got their movesets. I quite like, genuinely, the exposed turnbuckle and the mere threat of the head being against it and the damage you do if you miss. I like that like high risk, high reward sort of thing. You can't really get that from somebody going at the top anymore because that's been normalized. But, well, as long as I hit this, the guy's dead with a broken neck. If I miss it, I might like tear every muscle in my knee. So I didn't mind that as a device. Otherwise, they've not got anything. Like LA Knight and Nakamura together have just got zero chemistry. I don't care.
Nakamura's just got an entrance, hasn't he?
Yeah. I don't care that LA Knight's not got a lot of moves. I don't mind. It's, we're all in our 30s factor or even younger. It's all about where those moves go and about look how over LA Knight has gotten and how little that has mattered that he's only really had to add 1 or 2 things to his arsenal. But it doesn't ever click with Nakamura. I don't know what LA Knight is without that United States title because, yeah, he's might go into something with the Bloodline, but don't they have to win if they're feuding with him? Like, LA Knight should want to win the Rumble and be the number 1 contender. Fair enough. But then in the aftermath of not winning, as we think he probably, he's not going to win the Rumble, is he? No. Like, then what?
Yeah.
Who are you booking LA Knight against at WrestleMania?
That's a very good question.
I think there are a lot of stars that are starting to reach their sort of the ceiling of what you can achieve because they've either won the titles they were destined to win or they have kind of done everything in their existing characters, but you kind of understand why the booking wouldn't make any rash decisions with them. Nobody's saying turn LA Knight heel,
No.
for example. But there does come a time where you have to try and take the decision before it becomes inevitable or people have gotten bored of the babyface. I do think the transfer window of NXT or some pretty definitive character changes are necessary, and necessary now.
Or just hold him in a big ladder match for a mid-card title.
Aye, but we talked about that on Friday's preview. That happened for years because it had to, because how else were any of the mid-carders you liked going to get on WrestleMania? I don't really want to return to that. You got 2 nights. There should be enough that all the stars are accommodated.
Another tag match followed. It was ATN, Dan Ander, Austin Theory, and Grayson Bloody Waller versus the always I'm scared of doing it.
The Mercedes 80-bitty machine gun.
They're far better than that. The Motor City Machine Guns. I'm going to write that down just in case we get in trouble with the old sponsors. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. What do you call them? Yeah, obviously, Motor City Machine Guns dominates, apart from cheating from ATN, Dan Ander. There's the bit where they set up for that bit. He holds the ropes open and spreads his legs. Yeah. And I think Sabin goes for the dive, but Theory trips him. And that allows Grayson Waller to hit a rolling flatliner on Alex Shelley inside for a nice 2 count to take us to a break. Come back. Shelley's in trouble, but he runs Theory into Waller, super kicks Theory, tags in Sabin, who just runs wild on Grayson Waller, hits a missile drop kick. They hit stereo baseball slides on both of them, and then they do manage to hit that Sabin suicide dive. They're on the outside. Sabin runs at Waller, but Theory cuts him off with an elbow. They hit their double punch, which is a nice callback to their Kevin Owens feud, on Sabin for a near fall. But it all breaks down, and Sabin takes out Waller, and they set Theory up and hit him with their skull and bones to get the victory.
Turn the Motor City Machine Guns heel.
Really?
Turn them heel. I was willing to go along with, the criticism, well, who really are the Motor City Machine Guns? If you've never watched WWE before, and typically you make allowances for that, so why have you not done it now? And the idea was, I thought a couple of very neat commentary lines, your favourite tag team, they won the belts almost from the off. That's actually quite smart. That's who they are. They're winners. They're icons of tag wrestling, and they've proven it by adding yet more belts to their illustrious collection. That was a character. They've now lost the belts, and nothing else has really changed. And it doesn't really matter that they were your favourite tag team's favourite tag team, because after 3 months, they're already having kind of boring matches with other boring teams like A-Town Down Under.
Do you not want to keep him face for a potential match with the New Day at WrestleMania?
I mean, yes.
Although you could do babyface Usos in that, I suppose.
Yes, but we recorded the Raw preview today and we didn't mention the New Day once, other than the scrapped tag team match. I don't think that's been handled as carefully as I thought it might be. So, it's a different conversation, I guess, but the fact that the New Day aren't in that discussion about what dream tag match is coming your way at WrestleMania. Maybe, they're as good as anybody, but what I know about Shelley and Sabin is when they're getting limited time, and I saw this in TNA, when they're only getting limited time, they will maximize their minutes as smug arseholes.
Could they get a legend maybe in to mentor them, perhaps?
I can think of one. Put it like this. The idea of even a tease of Paparazzi Productions by getting a big Detroit Kev in just sort of remind him of how to get business done, and then they turn on him. I understand Big Sexy's got a friend in quite a high place in WWE that could probably get him a gig anytime he wanted. I'd love that. Turn them heel. This division's got no... I will say this for DIY, and Johnny Gargano especially. They are deserving champions because other than Pretty Deadly, they're the only characters that I feel like I know in this tag division at present. They're the only people that feel like they're actually projecting personas. And I think you get that with the Guns if you turn them.
I don't know what the Guns do at WrestleMania now. I've suggested that because I think I do want to see heel New Day, babyface Usos.
That's the match.
And DIY versus babyface Street Profits, where they finally win their gold back.
Just for the moment, really.
Yeah.
Just for them winning, yeah.
I know they want to be heels. Spoke to them about that about 4 years ago, it feels.
Everything's 4 years ago with the Street Profits, isn't it? So, everything's going to be 5 years ago at WrestleMania in Vegas. 6 years? It's WrestleMania! So to actually toast that with a tag title win would be nice.
So the tag champs DIY are upset backstage and Pretty Deadly. I'm running. Where the hell were you guys? And I like grumpy Tommaso Ciampa's just like, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Johnny's like, no.
What are your friends?
Can use these guys. Come on, guys. Yes, boy.
Yeah.
We still like you.
You got a lot of heat on you at the moment.
That tag title match is coming.
Yeah.
Promise.
Like him.
Just make sure no one takes the titles off us. These idiot stooges are going to keep doing it as much as Apollo Crews is like, if you believe that, you'll believe out.
I'm into it. And then wasn't there some sort of line? I imagine this. I was like, Apollo Crews is walking off like one of Pretty Dead's like, oh, you friendless loser or something, just because you can't get a partner. So they're teasing that Apollo Crews is going to find a tag partner.
Maybe.
Yeah. He had a really good one. They sacked him.
Yeah.
Which is it?
And then the former champ, Nia Jax, is there chatting to Candice LeRae. And Tiff's like, Candice is like, it was a bad week last week. Nia's like, yeah. Wonder what Tiff's going to say. In fact, I'm going to go and congratulate her myself. And out came the new... Sorry, not wearing my watch today. You haven't got the time on you, have you?
I don't. Maybe you can summon the time off the top of your head.
It's Tiffany time! Out comes Tiffany Stratton, huge baby.
Oh my God.
And then it's Byron Saxton to talk about what happened last week. The Tiffy turn of events, you could say. And to yell, it's Tiffy time. It's over. Stratton recaps what happened with her coming up to the main roster and inside a year becoming world champion. Fair play to her.
It's not a lot of Tiffy time, that is it?
It's also, I'm better than all of your favourites. Don't bring Charlotte Flair back as a baby face.
Oh, it's happening. It's happening. She's getting her legacy run.
Actually, I'm better than your favourites. Whole crowd. Yay! Sounds like it's time for babyface Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
But Byron's like, well, Nia Jax was bullying you a little bit. She's like, let's set the record straight on that one. She wasn't bullying me. I was just letting her think that, she had me under control so she could trust me. And I think I'm just a dumb blind. Let her guard down and then I'll take her most prized possession.
She was biding her Tiffy time.
Yeah. Put some respect on my name. Tell her what time it is, which is Tiffy time. But out comes Nia Jax, who says, you ungrateful little
I popped.
yeah.
I popped at a swear word.
Just like Tuesday night, baby. I could kill you, says Nia. You'd be nothing without me. I made you. Took you bloody long enough to take advantage of me. I don't know how that was a win, but still. Anyway, she says, Tiffy time's up. Or she said time's up, but it's Tiffy time. Give me my title back or I'll take it back. But before anything can happen, Bayley comes out. Says, shut up, Nia. If you were tricking her, fair play, Tiff, because I always thought you were dumb as a box of rocks. I remember Jax taking you under her wing and outsmarting her. And the only reason Jax still has a title is because of you. Let's not forget that. So I'm going to take your title from you. And then Naomi comes out with Bianca Belair. And she says, we all know I had you beat last week, Nia. If it wasn't for Tiffany Stratton, I'd be holding 2 titles. You'd have deserved 1, Naomi. What are you doing? What are you... I'm hoping. I'm really excited.
There was more of it
for
in the
this.
match as well, yeah.
Nia Jax says, no one cares about you. And attacks Bianca Belair and Naomi. And Naomi, Bayley, and Belair and Jax are fighting. And Tiffy's like, do I run away? No. Prettiest moonsault ever onto everyone. Lays everyone out. And out comes the SmackDown GM who says, I've had an idea. How about we have a fatal 4-way? And I was like, uh-oh, crowd's not going to like this when you say next week. And he said, right now. And I thought, oh, great.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose it's like, you don't get them very often now, I guess, the promo train impromptu matches. Could have done without 2 on the same show. Again, informing some worries I've got about their ability to book these 3-hour shows or indeed just in general keep the train on the tracks.
Promo train.
Well, yeah, nobody came across that well here.
Keep the promo train on the tracks, I mean.
Yes. Yeah. Tiffany Stratton, what is she now? Is she babyface? Is she a heel? I did quite like the British moonsault ever onto the park. I did like that.
Just arrogant. You can be an arrogant babyface. LA Knight does it.
Yeah. Is that what you're saying she is?
No, I think that's what she should be.
Right.
I'm worried they're going to be like, she's a bit of a cheater, you know. Doesn't cheat. Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, that's all. She's always watching.
So let's get to this number 1 contenders match. It was Nia Jax versus Naomi versus Bianca Belair versus Bayley. Everyone teams up to beat... Well, Naomi and Bianca definitely team up to beat up Nia Jax early on. She suplexes them both and almost takes them both out of WrestleMania, to be honest. That was my experience of watching that suplex.
Yeah. Prepare for a couple more of them in the Rumble.
Yeah. Bayley and Naomi get into it. Naomi's got the better of it, but Bayley comes back. They trade some pin attempts, and Nia Jax pulls Bayley outside and chucks her into the barrier. Naomi jumps at her, but Jax just catches her and slams her down. Belair tries to lift Nia Jax, but Jax stops her. But Belair hits her with a drop kick, beats her up in the corner. Nia Jax powers up and power bombs Bianca Belair, but Bayley dives in to break up the pin. Bayley suplexes Jax, goes to the top, but Nia Jax cuts her off and lifts her for a Samoan drop. But they're doing a Tower of Doom spot basically with Naomi and Belair, but it's a Tower of Samoan drop Doom. I don't know. All down, go to a break, come back. This time it's Bianca and Bayley just taking turns punching Nia Jax in the face. Bayley and Bianca send Jax to the outside, and finally, bit of respect, but there's a lot of history there. Obviously, They go at it. There's some roll-ups. Jax breaks it up. Naomi comes in and kicks Nia Jax, hits a Russian leg sweep and a split-legged moonsault for a near fall. Bayley comes in, an elbow drop for a 2 count. Belair 450 on Nia Jax, but Bayley breaks that up. They all try and pin Nia Jax at the same time. The ref's like, guys, what are we doing? It doesn't work. Candice LeRae walks down, and Naomi and Bianca do some double team moves on Bayley. And finally, it's Naomi and Bianca. We're tag champs together, but let's get into it. But in fact, they go after Bayley and Jax on the outside. Jax runs Naomi into the ring apron. Gets hit with a shoulder block from Bianca Belair. Bayley hits the Bayley to belly on Belair, but Naomi breaks that up. Hits a rear view, but Jax breaks that up. Jax drops Naomi. Belair breaks up that one. They're all down. Belair hits Bayley, lays her out, hit a moonsault for a 2 count, lifts her up for a KOD, but Candice LeRae gets involved, grabs the braid. Get off! Pulls it away, does Bianca, and inadvertently nails Naomi with it.
Yeah.
Jax and Belair go flying over the commentary table, fighting each other, and Bayley hits the Rose Plant on Naomi to get the 1, 2, 3 and become the number 1 contender. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. Some of the work
Kept me guessing.
Well, some of the work was pretty sloppy, but I agree. It was hard to pick a winner. You could feasibly fantasy book all of them getting shots for the various different reasons. Nia would have been unlikely, but within the match, you're like, well, nobody can stop her. I continue to like the dynamic between Bianca Belair and Bayley. They are always really loyal to the lack of trust those two have got. The first overt tease of like all might not be well between Bianca Belair and Naomi.
Oh my God.
I'm really excited for this.
They've held on to that, and it's a good whodunit, and I sense that people are starting to like build the case around Naomi, which is like ideal for WWE because now they're starting to put in place the idea that it might be her, and she's kind of looking all the more confident for how things have gone, with very little care for the fact that her teammate was whatever the hell happened to Jade Cargill, put through a car, you know.
Yes.
I do quite like how they're setting all of this up, whoever the payoff's going to be. So yeah, this was an overachievement in many respects. The work wasn't great, but I would argue it didn't matter too much with this one.
No, really, really
Good
fun.
drama.
Like you say, I bought on a lot of the pinfalls.
Yeah.
4 incredibly talented women. It's going to be great. And well, I should mention, I'll skip a little bit forwards, missing out Cody and Jimmy for a split second because Bayley's walking backstage and they confirm that the title match is, well, now this week, which we'll preview on Friday, of course. And she points out that Tiff has never beaten her. Also next week, Motor City Machine Guns lost Garza and Solo Sikoa's back.
Yeah.
But in amongst all this, Cody and Jimmy are talking backstage. And Cody said, look, I kind of expected Roman to want his title back. It's all good. Cody walks off. Mello walks up. Now he's all confident again. Oh, I've got no mates, have you, Jimmy? You're on your own. Let's have a bare knuckle fight then. And Jimmy's like, I mean, what is it you say? I don't miss. And he's like, well, the amount of bricks you're throwing or dropping or whatever, you could build a bloody house. There's a little yeet. I love Mello.
Yeah, me too. I really think they're onto something with Mello here.
I want him to go snivelling up to like Drew McIntyre.
Well, the best case scenario, considering that he's having this back and forth with Jimmy Uso, is a Drew or is a Solo Sikoa or something like that, where he's like, well, I'll give you a hand. You know, when we talk about how they lay these things out, where there's somebody to run in to help out or
He's
whatever.
sort of pro-new bloodline, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mello.
Mm-hmm. So, like, and the fact that once upon a time this was probably going to be a slot occupied by Bronson Reed means that maybe within the creative there was a space that needed filling. and they've possibly gone to Carmelo Hayes here, he is now kind of an enemy of the OG bloodline, which puts him in the firing line of Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman. Previously, Cody Rhodes.
What if the new bloodline go, you know what? You're Mello, hey, you are all right.
Yeah.
And bring him in, and they do the, I didn't really like it at the time, but the Daniel Bryan into the Wyatts. They just start losing loads. And they're like, it's your fault, Mello.
Yeah.
And you sort of babyface Mello in all this, because he's just a cocky twat. He's not a bad person. And then Trick Williams is the one to make the save when it looks like they're finally about to kill him.
Yeah, that call-up's happening, and maybe reuniting them might not be the worst thing. A bunch of people will never have even seen the split because of NXT's reduced audience as opposed to the main
tag
roster.
team.
Might help each other out because I think Trick's singles run's not been what we thought it would be. Not the worst thing, putting them two back together.
And then it was main event time. Yeah, Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso versus Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. I think they should, if they want to extend stuff on SmackDown, extend Jacob Fatu yelling as people walk to the ring. I could have 10 minutes of that.
Yeah.
You know, and they will be right back on our Netflix, of course, in America. You don't get that. Not for me. Just have Jacob Fatu walking through. Yeah, Jacob, we got 5 minutes to kill on Netflix. You want to do something? Fine by me.
Scream at people.
Yeah.
Do you know what, though? All joking aside, this is sort of top guy stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's been tested here to see how he could handle promoing his way to a main event, and he was brilliant at it.
Yeah. Jacob Fatu dominates for his team, of course. Pop-up Samoan drop on Jimmy to take us to an early commercial break. The show returns. Tama Tonga comes in. Yeah. And he works Jimmy's leg whilst doing that, basically. Jacob Fatu comes back in, knocks Cody off the apron. It's a senton, hip attack on Jimmy. And again, gets a 2 count off it. Puts Jimmy on the top rope, screams, I loves you, Solo. That's what he says.
That's what he says.
That's how he says it. But Jimmy fights back and knocks Jacob Fatu off the top. It's a spinning splash. Cody gets the hot
Jimmy.
tag. Cody gets the hot tag. Power slam, a snap power slam to Tama Tonga. Disaster kick. The baddies are on the outside. Cody suicide dives onto both of them. The dusty punches and the elbow on Tama Tonga gets 2. Sets up for the crossroads, but Tama counters into a DDT for a 2 count. He puts Tama Tonga on the top rope. Jimmy tags in, and they hit the nice power and glory spot. But Fatu breaks things up. Cody hits a super Cody cutter on Jacob Fatu. Jimmy sends him over the commentary desk. But here comes bloody Kevin Owens. And Cody, red rag to a bull, just sees him. Goes straight out. Brawls to the back with KO. Jimmy hits a spear on Tama Tonga. Goes up top. Uso splash. He's got the match won. But Jacob Fatu pulls him to the outside and kills him. Smashes his head on the commentary table. Rolls him back in. Impaler, moonsault. 1, 2, 3. The new bloodline stand tall. But to close out the show, KO and Cody come back, brawling into the arena, onto the equipment boxes. Owens wants to powerbomb him, but instead they trade some punches, and Cody spears Owens through some tables, and they're both rolling around in the broken table as the show goes off the air.
For a Fued that was rooted so much in not just the reality of the words that Kevin Owens was using and continues to use, still the meat of this is good. I found that show closing brawl to be a little bit fake feeling. They've had really, really good brawls. If anything, the less big, bombastic Hollywood action you put in there, the better, because they just hate each other. And I didn't feel like tonally that worked. I saw what they were trying to do. It was like, how can we end this show on a high rather than just Jimmy Uso gets beat by the bloodline? But I'd argue just have the brawl take Cody out, have the match result, and then for the benefit of the TV audience, maybe have them two fighting in the car park or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like it was a better way to end the show than what we got into a big, wacky table spot. Maybe that's just where the feud's at, but I always thought it was a little bit more real feeling than that. The match was fine.
Tables this week, chairs next week, and then on the first, ladders.
Fire. Oh, yeah.
Stairs. Sorry, I forgot the stairs
yes,
part.
Yeah. The match was all right. Jimmy Uso was good again.
Yeah.
Jimmy Uso had I sensed tonight this was a bit of a running with the ball night for Jimmy Uso. There was a few segments he was involved in. There was a potential program with Mello. There was him playing the great defender of Paul Heyman on behalf of Roman Reigns, plus being the valiant babyface who tried to fight and lost against the New Bloodline. One of his best nights when he's constantly and somewhat justifiably overlooked, I think, in the OG Bloodline. So he had a really good night. There was a point in the match as well where I think everybody got a bit lost. I think it was when Cody Rhodes went for that top rope cutter, and you could kind of get away with it because Jacob Fatu's just like a wild man. Yeah. But he is just sort of stood in the middle of the ring, and you're like, do you know he's about to get you? Because I can see it. So
and half the time, who's the legal people? I don't know. Who cares? Just take up Jake.
Elements where it fell apart, but Jacob Fatu conjures such a sense of chaos that you can wave it away, can't you?
Yeah, he's someone who, I don't know what the match is at WrestleMania, if they are doing Rock Cody. Oh, it's Rock Cody, if only. If they are doing Roman Cody, if they do Rock Cody, they could do Roman Jacob. But anyway, I don't know. But nice that you linked in the playoffs there, running with the ball. I like that. It was a nice touch.
I meant that.
Who have you got for Super Bowl this year?
Colts, probably.
No chance, mate. We were long gone.
Patriots, probably.
No, I think they're rubbish this year.
Dolphins, I reckon.
I don't think they're in it either.
I've always been a Tennessee Dinosaurs guy.
The Detroit Lions.
Yes.
They're my pick.
Yeah, Mo City Machine Guns are going to be there in person. Kick the first pitch.
Miami Dolphins. Not looking
Who's
good.
it, the Detroit Lions and
There's no one yet. We're in the playoffs
Oh, it's
right
easy.
now.
Squash. Win for the Lions. You got no one to play.
We've got.
It's going to be much. It's be a ball, but I think it's going to be a super one if there's only one team in it. Well,
we've got the Kansas City Chiefs because, of course, we bloody have.
Chesterfield.
No, KC Chiefs are just like they're the new Patriots basically.
Right.
And people are kind of sick of them. Minnesota Vikings, LA Rams, Houston Texans, Washington Commanders, Detroit Lions, Ravens, and Bills. I saw the Lions when I went to watch them at Wembley, so I'm going to have to pick them.
Okay.
They won.
It's like Lions and Tigers, did you say? Any bears?
Not quite.
Oh, my.
But yeah, with regards, circling back to something you said earlier with, Jimmy and Cody seem to be fine. I think that was kind of the point this week is they are fine, but I think slowly they're going to be a bit like, because he's spinning a lot of plates, obviously. He's like, no, I'm going to be a good guy and help out Paul Heyman and, Romans I'm kind of okay with and what have you. But he's got the Kevin Owens stuff going on, and that effectively is what cost his team. They had the match won.
Yep.
If he'd have been there, he could have arguably stopped Jacob Fatu from interfering. So maybe this week, Jimmy was a bit like, where'd you go, mate?
And Roman watching from a distance like, why is he mixing in with Bloodline business? I need to get my title back. He's not the guy. Yeah, possibly. Don't get me wrong, I know it's nothing. I'm not saying like WWE's just fallen off overnight or anything, but I do, little niggles and considerations that I'd like to see addressed over the next, between now and the Rumble anyway.
Well, let us know your thoughts on SmackDown in the comment section or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow our long-suffering producer, Adam Nicholas, at...
It's Adam Nicholas.
You can follow me, at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all, at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. The Raw preview is available right now. Me and Sid will be back later on today to review AEW Collision. But for now, this has been the SmackDown review. My thanks to Hamflett. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.